Surf Shorts Podcast.
Chris and I had probably been dating a while again. This is, again, in the mid-90s era, perhaps getting on. But we were married in 98, so it was definitely before that. I just met her dad. He was an engineer from NC State, old school guy. And that's about the only thing. We had two things in common. One was that we both went to NC State, and the other was that we had both owned a Datsun 280Z at some point in our life.
I had one of those, but it was a ZX.
Yeah, mine was a Z. It was like a 75. It rode better at 80 miles an hour than it did at 55, so I basically had to speed when I was taking it back to school.
Inline 6 dual Weber carburetors.
I don't speak engine.
that was the 280Z. That was the 280Z.
I loved it, though. And it had surf racks on it, of course.
Sweet.
Absolutely, yeah. That's the only really way you can carry a surfboard in a 280Z. So
For real.
But I tell you, and I loved her parents. Her mom's still kicking at 83. He's awesome. But her father's Oz. He's been gone for a while, but he was a great dude. And so I was excited to go up there because every time I'd go and stay with him, I'd take a board and we'd go surfing at AB or Fort. What's the fort at the end of Atlantic Beach? Fort Macon. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Good spot. So we just went on another visit down east like we often do. And the thing to do down there, up there, over there, it's down east, but it's
over there,
north.
yeah,
it's northeast of us.
We're talking about where the land in North Carolina juts out into the ocean. If you're from somewhere else, there's three capes on North Carolina: Cape Hatteras, Cape Lookout, and Cape Fear. So we're talking about the second jut,
That's
Cape
correct.
Lookout.
Yep. And some people there call it the SOBX, the Southern Outer Banks.
Sure.
And people get really confused when they call Outer Banks hammocks in Wilmington, and they're like, "Yeah, I just went to see you up there in Corolla," and I'm like, "Yeah, you didn't, but I'm I'll make a hammock for you anyway.
Yeah,
if you like."
for sure.
So yeah, that was it. We had two things in common, and we hadn't been dating but for a couple of years, I guess. And when we first met, I had an earring, and that was
strike one.
Yeah, strike one. This is down east. This is pretty super conservative country, but anyway. The thing to do down there in your boat is to go to Cape Lookout. It is the most beautiful, and you know this probably. It's
amazing.
The water looks like it's in the Caribbean. It's beautiful. You got Shackelford Banks and Core Banks. You got just empty beaches everywhere.
It is nature, and it is forever changing, and you have to know what you're doing to boat there.
Yes, that's true. And Oz was the captain, that's for sure. And even when I go there now, Kristen's sister Pam is the captain. She and her nephew Cody, they get us. They get us through all. I mean, everything is just low country. It's like the low country of North Carolina. A lot of good clamming.
I was for real. I was stupidly following a chart up there one time in my charter boat, and following the paper, and came around the over what was the break right there was Shackelford Banks.
Yeah.
Tried to hook in behind there in like my 40-foot boat, and it was full. I had plenty of guests on board that were 14.
Oh my gosh.
And my depth sounder went off, and I was like, "Oh my Lord, I'm an idiot." No, I skirted away. I got out.
Wow, yeah, that's good. I thought you were going to say you ran aground, and then all of a sudden you looked down, and 20 feet below you was a sunken boat.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just on top of another boat that's already sunk.
Yeah, just from
Well, you're talking.
I'm referencing the Outer Banks.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll move on from that.
I can't even watch it.
Yeah. Well, it's cringe fun. It's fun cringe, but. So my father-in-law, Oz, he had this big old school kind of, what do you call it?
I'm sorry. I'm going to interrupt you. We have to go back to that. How in the hell, I can't say that. How in the heck are you going to sink a Grady White? I mean, the thing is, the boat they show out in the ocean at the beginning of the episode is clearly a Grady like 22 overnighter.
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody knows that boat is, right? And then it's like at the bottom of a creek. Like that boat ain't sinking, much less in a creek. It's not happening. I don't care. I think it'd be in a hurricane for a week, and it might be upside down, but it's floating. All right, well, let's go back.
Okay,
I can't let it go.
I hear you.
Can't let it go.
Quick is becoming less quick. Surf medium. It's not surf short. It's a surf. Well, this is our medium.
They're Bermudas.
Right?
They're Bermudas.
Yeah, for sure. So he's got like I guess you might call it like I don't know what you call it, like a pilot boat. It looks like it's got a little pilot house. It's just got a little cabin, but it's not a cuddy.
It's
not a forward cabin. It's like a cabin. Let's put it this way. It's a big heavy boat. I mean, it was probably wasn't that long. It's around 20 feet, maybe a little longer,
Sure,
but it was a big old boat, not like
Grady and Parker both made those.
Yeah. So we go out, Kristen and her dad and stepmom and maybe a couple of sisters or cousins or whatever, and we all go to the Cape and just have a lovely day. And I knew there's a swell running. I've always wanted to surf Cape Lookout. And
right on the lighthouse.
Good spot.
Yeah,
and it's amazing how much water is moving there.
A lot of water.
You think you were at Hatteras. I mean, or even more. It was amazing. But
you're on the edge of the world.
You are on the edge.
Where the lighthouse is, like where you're surfing, you can be, I don't know, a half mile to a mile from literally the tip of the Cape. So like you're in water that's moving north and south, and less than a mile from you, the ocean's moving east and west. It gets the water.
It does, and it's nice. It was nice to be in my 20s and a strong paddler. So, I had a great session. We had a great day out there. I took my board and I just had a short board. I don't remember what it was. It was like a 6.8. It's basically I rode 6.8, 6.6, 6.8, and as thick as I could find them, since I always weighed around 200 pounds. Or, a little more than that now, but anyway, so good session, good day at the beach. Get back in the boat, and we're heading back to the dock at, I guess her dad lived like around Williston,
right,
which is close to Smyrna. Williston, Smyrna, Sea Level, Atlantic, Otway, Betty, you name it. There's a bunch of little towns there between Beaufort and Cedar Island where we catch the ferry over to Ocracoke. So we're heading back in. And I don't know if we ran out of gas or what, but the motor just conked out. And luckily, there wasn't a lot of tide running. There wasn't a lot of wind running. So, but it was conked out, and it was way too deep to pull like an oar out and try to push or paddle or anything. So we were dead in the water. I don't even know, probably no cell phones. Probably not. No. It might have been an old Altel Motorola, but not on the boat. So
no, there weren't even.
Yeah. So we're just drifting around, and we can see like the little bay where the dock is, where we dock the boat. We can see it, but it's probably like 2 football fields away. I don't know how far it is. And I'm like, all right, this is it. I'm going to show this man what I'm made of. I'm going to show him that I am worthy of his daughter. And by that time, he might have already liked me anyway or made up his mind. But anyway, so I'm like, I was like, get a line. I was like, tie it to the bow cleat. And so, he does that and he gets it. And I can't remember. I might have tried to tie it to my leash, but it just wouldn't, how leashes are. You try to tie a leash in a knot. It just doesn't work too well. So I think eventually what I did was put the damn bow line. I mean, I call knots bowlines, but it's a bow line, I guess, when it's on the boat. I don't know.
It's a bowline. It's always a bowline, yeah.
Okay, it's always a bowline.
There's no way you could have put a sheet bend, which is a bowline from 2 different ropes put together. Yeah. You couldn't put a sheet bend between a leash and a rope. No. It wouldn't happen.
Yeah. So I know the knot's called a bowline because that's what I make hammocks with. Yeah. But I didn't realize that, if you're just throwing the line out there, you still call it a bowline. Anyway, I put it in my teeth and I just paddled like there was no tomorrow, like my life depended on it, and started making headway. And I paddled this man's boat, like, I guess maybe a couple 100 yards from out in the sound,
right,
all the way up to his dock.
Yeah. And drug him.
I just drug him like with the bowline, like in my teeth or tied to the leash. I can't remember, but I do remember that we actually made it. And he was a super understated dude, so it's not like he was like falling over himself, like, "Oh my God, it's great." But nothing had to be said.
Yeah,
what was done was done, and ended up, of course, marrying his daughter, and we're still together. And he's a great guy. But that was like a pivotal moment, I think, in our relationship, and a pivotal moment in my life. And it was just like one of the things you kind of feel good about yourself. You're like, man, that was cool. We didn't have to like call for help or anything like that.
I just drug you home.
Yeah. So I drug him home.
Yeah. That's an awesome story. Thanks, dude.
You got it, brother.
All right.
All right. Let me go piss.